A number of you guys have requested tutorials on graphical user interface programming with Python and the PyQt5 library. So this is the beginning of your magical mystery tour of the PyQt libraries. In today's video, I will show you how to install PyQt5 and show you what a typical PyQt5 GUI program looks like. My name is Nuruddin Abdulkarim, co-founder and lead software engineer at Gilbyte Tech Solutions. The Qt framework is a C++ framework for building cross-platform GUI applications, including iOS and Android. PyQt5 is a set of Python bindings for Qt version 5 and enables Python to be an alternative application development language to C++ and all supported platforms. You must have at least an intermediate proficiency level in Python and a basic understanding of object-oriented programming. To begin, we must first have Python installed, of course. Go to python.org and install the latest version of Python. First, we'll download it. I already have it downloaded here. I'll click on it to install. If you already have it installed, you can move on. I'll select Add to Path so that I don't have to do that manually. Now, we continue this series with the assumption that you're using the Windows operating system. If you're on other platforms and you need help, comment down below and I will surely help you as much as I can. Once installation of Python is complete, close this window and we don't need this URL again. Open the command prompt, click on the start menu and type cmd and select the command prompt. To check that Python was correctly installed, type Python and press enter. You'll see the version of Python you installed, and that shows that Python was correctly installed. So I'll quit out of the shell and clear my screen. Now, in the command prompt, I will navigate to the folder in which I want my project to be in. So my folder is in Documents and PyQt5 Tutorials. You can navigate to any folder that you want. To use virtual environments to organize your Python projects, you can create a virtual environment with your favorite virtual environment and activate it, and then install PyQt5. You don't have to do this, it's completely optional, but I highly recommend it. I will create my virtual environment now with the default virtual environment that comes with my default Python installation. To create a virtual environment using the default Python virtual environment, or VENV, I'll say Python, if I can spell it correctly, -m VENV, and then I will give the name of my virtual environment. So Python -m VENV and the name of my virtual environment. I will call it PyQt5 Tutorials VENV or ENV. Now I'll wait for the virtual environment to be created. When there's no errors, it means it has been created successfully. To activate my virtual environment, since it's in the same folder, I can type PyQt, basically the name of the virtual environment I just created, /scripts, slash activate dot bat. These days the bat is optional, but I still like to use it. Enter, and this activates my virtual environment. The name of the virtual environment right here shows what virtual environment has been activated. I'll clear my screen. Now we are ready to install PyQt5. If you want extensive tutorials on virtual environment, make the request down in the comments and I will be sure to make it if there's enough comments. Like the video also. Now that our virtual environment has been created, we can use pip freeze to check what packages we have installed. We see nothing because we haven't installed any packages. To install PyQt5, I'll simply say pip install PyQt5, capital P and capital Q. I'll hit enter and let it do the installation. Once you have installed PyQt5, we can check that the installation worked by opening the Python shell and importing PyQt5. I'll clear my screen, type Python and enter to open the Python shell, and I'll say import PyQt5. If this gives no errors, then the installation was successful. I'll quit out of my shell. And that is how to install PyQt5. Now let me show you how a typical PyQt5 GUI application looks like. So open your favorite text editor. My favorite is Sublime Text. I've opened my favorite editor, Sublime Text, and I have navigated to my folder, the folder I created in the command prompt. You can see my virtual environment here. We're not going to touch it. I will create a new file. This file, I'm going to call it first.py. So that will be our first PyQt5 program. So first I will import whatever I need. So from PyQt5.qWidgets, I'll import everything. We only need the Qt widgets for our purpose now. For more complex applications, we're going to need a lot more than that. Next, we instantiate a Q application object, which we will use to run the event loop. I'll explain this in the next video. So I'll call it app, and this is a Q application. So it's a Q application object that we are instantiating. If you don't understand this, don't worry, just follow along. They will become clearer and clearer as the series goes on. You must always have a Q application object before creating anything on the screen. So this is very important. You're going to find it in all of the projects that you will be doing. Next, we create a widget. I'll call it WQWidget, and I'll give it a property called window title, and I'll call it first PyQt5 GUI program. So this is our widget. Now if you don't understand the concepts, let me explain this briefly. A widget refers to a graphical user interface item. Any graphical user interface item is referred to as a widget. So a button is a widget, a label is a widget, a text input, menu, all those are called widgets. Okay, in PyQt5, the QWidget object represents the most basic widget you're going to find in the PyQt libraries. So this basically gives us a blank widget. So it's not as specialized as other widgets like buttons, labels, and so on. And we will explore some of those stuff as we go along. So I gave this a property of window title equals first PyQt GUI program. Then I will now execute the show method on the Q widget. So this will, well, first of all, it will show the widget on screen, but also what it will do is it will make sure it is the top level widget, in the sense that it is not a widget embedded in another widget. If it doesn't make any sense, don't worry, it will become clearer and clearer as we go along. Finally, I will run our event loop with app.exec. Now notice how I ended it with an underscore. That is because exec is a reserved word. You can't use exec without the underscore, but it is best practice to avoid using reserved words in core Python when using other libraries. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm already in my folder in the command prompt. You can navigate to it if for some reason you are not in the folder you're in the text editor. So I'll take a look at the files in there. So I see my first.py and the virtual environment. So I'm going to run first.py. I'll just say Python first.py. And when we run this, we see that this widget has been created, which is a window, and the title is shown right here. So this is what a typical PyQt5 program looks like. In the next video, I will explain to you the core concepts involved in graphical user interface application development, and then I will also show you the best practice and the best way to really use PyQt5 in a way that you can scale it up, whether you're writing small applications or you're writing large applications. And it is important to start using those practices from the beginning so that you get used to them. Okay, that's all I have for you guys today. I'll see you in the next video. Like and subscribe.